The Pope changed his clothes at a Burger King. So that's something. Um, Pope Francis has been in the news continually since he came to be Pope back in, it was like 2013. And this week especially, he's really been in the news. So we have a few different articles to look at. The first is from CNN, and it says that he apologizes for the church's many sins. So, the sins he calls many grave sins were committed by Christians against indigenous peoples in South America during the colonization of the continent by Spain several centuries ago. So that's nice. And speaking of the South America, he had went to visit some president, and he received a gift, a crucifix, which I just think is so grand. It's a hammer and sickle with the Lord hanging on it. So, yeah, the BBC article has a picture of this with the subtitle, "The gift has been condemned as arrogant by some in the Catholic community." So, there's that too. It was presented in Bolivia. So by I'm guessing, the Bolivian president. Yes, it is the left-wing Bolivian president Evo Morales of Bolivia. So it says that one Catholic bishop suggested that Mr. Morales had sought to manipulate God. That's kind of wacky. So that's the second story. And it's very interesting. The third thing, which I had started with, was the Burger King news. He was there to change his clothes, and I saw this on the nightly news. He just walked into a closed Burger King and changed before Mass. And yeah. So the Pope, he's has a lot of headlines currently. I like the Pope. I think he's he's the Pope. I guess I haven't really thought about it before. He's really popular, and more popular than Benedict, the previous Pope, was, by far, I would say. And he seems to be, Francis seems to be a bit more open and almost liberal than any previous Pope that I've heard of anyway. Like I said, I hadn't really thought about it much. So, the guy had a magazine. He was on a magazine. I think it was Time magazine, and it said Holy Reformer. So, he's changing things up a bit and rustling some people's feathers, or whatever you want to say. So, my opinion, he's a good guy. He's is what he is. He's the Pope. Yay. So, my bit of advice for this edition: just go to Burger King and find a crucifix that is shaped like a hammer and sickle.